is one side not wanting to agree. Mr. President, I'll be voting in the affirmative on this, and I just want it duly noted.
Senator Rivera.
Thank you. It is about 6:50 a.m. Good morning to everyone. I will be very brief. There are many things in this budget, in this particular bill that we're debating right now, or that we're speaking on right now, that are very positive, and certainly will have a great positive impact across the state of New York and to my constituency. But I must take a second, excuse me, even with my losing voice, I must take a second to point out that this is not the way that democracy should work. We represent on this side of the aisle almost half the state as far as population. We did not get to see any of the details of this until about 2 hours ago. And when we looked at it, certainly we would have done some things differently, but ultimately we decided, well, we will each make our decision individually, but I certainly have decided that it is a positive thing for my constituency, and I will be voting in the affirmative. But this is not the way that we should do business here. It is almost 7 a.m. Many of us have been here sick. Many of our staff, as I said, and I certainly applaud them, many of them have not slept for days. This is not the way to do business here. We should not see something just a couple of hours before that is going to impact the state in such a very serious manner. So I would just reiterate that I would ask my colleagues, and certainly my other folks that are responsible for putting all this together. I was saying to some people, if you don't give me a menu and don't allow me to order, then don't put a bologna sandwich in front of me and call it steak. This was a steak sandwich, maybe not a filet mignon. So I'll be voting in the affirmative. But it should not work like this. I'll be voting in the affirmative, Mr. President. Thank you.
Senator Panapinto.
I'm rising to speak on the bill.
Senator Panapinto on the bill.
I'm also fighting a cold. I attended my first Fight for 15 rally in May of 2014. It was in front of a McDonald's on Niagara Street in the west side of Buffalo, and you know, I saw a bunch of people that I hadn't seen in a while. And it was a new movement at that time, a couple years ago. And you know, activists from around the country have put the Fight for 15 on the agenda. And in that rally, I connected with people who I hadn't seen, and we talked about what this meant. And when I ran for office, I ran on raising the minimum wage, on increasing education spending, on paid family leave. And I'm the prime sponsor of the minimum wage in the Senate. And last year, I stood in front out here in the hallway with Senator Comrie and Senator Hamilton, and we talked about, you know, co-sponsoring that legislation and passing it. So, you know, I'm proud to stand here today to vote on this bill at 7 o'clock in the morning, that New York State is going to be the first state in the country which is going to raise its minimum wage in New York City to $15 an hour. And it's really about battling the income inequality, which is the greatest scourge that faces our society. You know, if you don't raise people up and give them an education and give them a fair wage, you can't expect them to do better. So I'm proud that, you know, we're doing this. I wish we'd have been able to read the legislation, spend a little more time with it, but it's a historic day. It's a historic day where this body and this state will lead the way in this country in the fight for 15. And I can look back to that rally that I attended less than 2 years ago, and we as a state are taking this step forward. So I'm proud to vote in the affirmative for this bill. Thank you.
Senator Hamilton.
Yes, Mr. President. May the sponsor please yield to a question.
Senator Young, you yield?
Yes.
Senator Young, I just want to say you've been gracious this evening. I know it's been a long night, and I thank you for answering so many questions. I don't know, you think you've been on the floor maybe 10 hours now? And hopefully it'll be over soon, and we can all go home. Thank you very much. To the bill, Mr. President. Yeah, you can sit down.
That's your question. Senator
That's my question.
Hamilton on the bill.
On the bill, I just want to say thank you to the staff of the Senate Dems, Louis and Chantel, within a short period of time of 4 hours, they had to digest this voluminous stack of papers that was given to them for our conference. I know Senator Sanders said that hopefully one day we will get this information ahead of time, not on the day that we have to vote on a $150 billion budget. I don't know what type of democracy we have in this state when we have to vote on a $158 billion budget, given this stack of information legislation, which is not all of it, and vote on it with a clear conscience. So Senator Sanders said he hopes that one day it'll work out that way, but this is done on purpose. It's done on purpose to make sure that bills that might be adversely affecting the majority of the people in this state will happen, that we won't have the time to scrutinize and actually look at it and make sure that justice prevails for everyone in the state of New York and not just for some. So in this bill, the staff has brought to my attention several items that I think need to be addressed, and it's the increased education. I'm happy that's happening now. I wish that we would have had the DREAM Act because the last I checked, everybody in this room comes from immigrants. No one's family was originally here in this country. So for all of a sudden to say that a certain group of people now cannot be educated when this country was based on taking immigrants to this country, it's a shift that I don't understand, but we'll be dealing with it. In my district, we have one of the lowest reading scores in the state of New York. Hopefully we'll spend more time on educating our young youth and not sending them to prison. Right now, New York State is the 5th state in the country as far as the highest incarceration rate. I sat here for 2 years, and I hear all the time, rather than having resources to keep our kids out of jail, we keep increasing the penalties, increasing penalties, increasing penalties on children that are poor, and not giving them an opportunity to raise themselves up and to live the American dream in the state of New York. The Paid Family Leave Act. It's a great thing because many of the people who will benefit are young mothers who are working, raising their children on their own, single mothers. And no mother should have to choose between taking her child to the hospital or going to work. It's hard enough trying to raise a family on your own as a single parent, so I'm in favor of the Paid Family Leave Act. The minimum wage, as Senator Panapinto said, the three musketeers, myself, Leroy Comrie, and Mark Panapinto, stood by ourselves in the forefront fighting for minimum wage. Just think about it. At $9 an hour, if you work 40 hours a week, you only bring home $360. That's only $14 and $40 per month. Right now in Brooklyn, New York, a one-bedroom apartment is $1,500 a month. So what we're seeing is the explosion of homelessness within the borough, within the state. We had the 421A. We had the most construction going on ever, but still the homeless rate rises. So now with the minimum wage at $15 an hour, a person can work 40 hours a week and bring home $2,040 a month, where people could try to live a decent lifestyle, where parents don't have to worry about where the next meal is coming from, and people could have truly affordable housing. We still haven't addressed the issue of affordable housing in the state for many of our residents in the state. I know Senator Klein is trying to work on the Mitchell-Lama program to have more affordable housing for residents throughout the state. Right now, we still haven't defined what's affordable in the state of New York. What's affordable to some is not affordable to many. As I said last year, this state was incorporated in 1988, but it took 60 years to 1848, where the great women of the state of New York got together in Seneca Falls and said a woman should have a right to vote. And they kept fighting until 1920, until the women got the right to vote. Here we have a conference where we have a woman at the helm of our conference, and we still, after 229 years in the state legislature, have not had a woman in charge of the Assembly or in the Senate. And so even though we're at the door to having our first woman at the table with the three people, she's still being denied her true place at the table. So hopefully one day, the 8 million people that we represent will have a voice, and we will not have to vote on a budget of $158 billion on information that was given to us 4 hours before the vote. It's unconscionable. This is not the democratic way. No one should have to go through this voluminous amount of material and have to vote on it. That's why I have not voted on any of the bills today, because I didn't have the time to go through it thoroughly. So, but I would not vote on this bill, but I feel that to the women who are suffering, who are working every day, living in shelters, I owe it to them. I owe it to them to say that you're worth something, you work hard every day, and your children should live the American dream. So on this, Mr. President, I vote for the young women to have a meaningful jobs. I vote for the Family Leave Act to make sure that women don't have to choose between the hospital and going to work and a child being sick. And I just want to say one more time, thank you for our staff who's taking time away from their families for days at a time to be here to make sure that we can do the best that we can do with the information that was given to us on purpose within a short amount of time. And I want to thank also to our leader of the Democratic Conference, Andrew Stewart-Cousins, for standing up for us, for fighting for us, even though she's been kept out of the room, even though we represent 8 million people. So, Mr. President, even though I didn't read the whole bill, based on these items that I discussed, I will vote yes.
Senator Comrie.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the bill, I just wanted to take an opportunity to thank all of the staff for both sides for everything that they've done to get to this point in the morning where it's after 7 o'clock in the morning. This is not my first time being up all night to try to get something done, but I can tell you it's been one of my most frustrating situations in trying to make sure that things were done democratically. I think that the process, as has been said by my previous colleagues, requires a lot of improvement and a lot more transparency to ensure that we don't have to get to this point. There's a lot of opportunities for public discourse. There's a lot of opportunity for hearings and full discussion on these matters so that we're not having to pour through thousands or hundreds of pages in a couple of hours. There are many things that are positive about this budget, and I will be voting yes, but I just have to bring up some issues that I've spoken about before that I think is a major problem. Before I do that, I do want to congratulate Senator Young for spending hours trying to answer the questions. I want to also acknowledge Senator Martins for making sure that the VLTs for Nassau County were moved to resorts. I think that's a major and positive aspect that will ensure that there's no second casino opened up in the Elmont area, which is adjacent to my district and impacts my district directly. While there's some parts of this budget that are very good, there's some parts that haven't been settled that truly trouble me. The issues of mental health in the community and the ability of the state to address it, I think there's a major opportunity that was missed. We have more people in the community that are going out and harming people in the streets. We have people that are put in inadequate facilities and now private homes that are impacting communities, especially such as mine, that has a high rate of vacant homes where undisciplined providers are bringing in mental health people because they're closing the major agencies and providers in the state that have been caring for long-term mental health people, people that need help and people that need assistance. And it's becoming a real crisis in the city and throughout the state, where we have people that are mentally ill wandering the streets because they're not being taken care of adequately. Closing Bernard Feinstein in my district and closing other long-term mental health facilities are causing this issue, and we need to, as a state, address it and start to turn that tide so that we're not putting the mentally ill in places where they're not being adequately taken care of. I want to speak to also, my colleague spoke to the DREAM Act. You know, my parents, as other members said, we are all immigrants to this country. No one that is here I know so far that I've met has been a person that was not an immigrant to this country and understand the need to make sure that their children get a better opportunity for education. Not passing the DREAM Act again is something that we should be able to do as a state, and it's an embarrassment that that hasn't happened. While this budget has been better than most, as our members have said, it's still a problem in many areas. The issues that with the $240 million that was taken out of the CUNY budget, the monies that we're taking out of the education budget, the monies that we still haven't addressed, an increase in the summer youth employment program, where we have more kids wandering the street and looking for an opportunity, I think is a major failure in state government, especially when we're looking to lock up people for every mistake they have with higher penalties, as opposed to creating a pathway to jobs and a pathway to self-esteem by at least doubling the summer youth employment program. I think that's a major loss and something that we really have to work hard to get more people to understand around this state, that when you give a child a positive start, you can make sure that that child can have a positive life and not be out in the street doing more opiates and other drugs because they're bored and they don't have something positive to do. Not increasing the summer youth employment statewide is only going to create more young people out here doing things that they should not be doing because they're not in a program that will help them and give them an opportunity to move up in the world. That being said, the process that has gotten us here today, I think, needs to be improved. As a former city council member, we had hearings on a difficult issue no matter what the issue was. And we had 8- and 9-hour hearings to make sure that all sides were heard. And we also made sure that there was an opportunity for all sides to participate. And the fact that that does not happen here is a constant frustration to me, because I know that people here are at a better level of discussion and ability, and not to make sure that there's transparency just frustrates me in a body that I know could be democratic and could be and has been collegial, but yet still we have these issues where there's not proper discussion. And we come here today where we're trying to vote on a $158+ billion budget with minimal discussion to be had on it. I think that we can do better. I think we all need to work on figuring out a way to make that happen. I know that it requires long meetings and a lot of talking and a lot of listening, but the body needs to steer discussions towards substantive solutions, having those long, hard discussions to make these things happen. So I'm here today to say that I want to congratulate all of those who put positive things in the budget. I think that there's a lot of things that we can be working towards to do better, and I'm going to be voting aye on this budget, Mr. President. Thank you very much.
Senator DeFrancisco to close.
I wasn't planning on speaking, but I think it's important to make a point. Many speakers thus far have mentioned many of the deficiencies in the bill, things that aren't in there that they would like to have in there, and things that are in there that they don't like, but on balance, it's something they should vote for. I just want to make it very clear that the minority members of this House are in that position, and I want you to know that the majority members in this House are in the exact position. For example, one of the things that many of us want, and many people who have come to Albany want, was a tax credit for private parochial schools in order to provide that additional education option and to make it affordable, especially since that's much cheaper than trying to make more public schools to take care of those kids. So many of us are very, very disappointed about that. Many of us hate, not dislike, hate other things that are in the budget that we believe very strongly are going to hurt the economy. But we're all in the same dilemma. We're all in the same space here, that there's a bill has so many things in it and maybe omitting many, many things that we've all got to weigh whether the good outweighs the bad, because we don't have the choice of voting on each individual item the way the bill was presented to all of us. So I guess the main point I want to make is that that concern by the minority is not an exclusive minority concern. It definitely is a concern of the majority as well. So I guess the point is that everybody has to look at this bill and weigh the good with the bad and decide what the best thing to do based upon the bill as it exists, and fight the fight another day for those things that maybe we can't control in view of the fact that it's part of one big bill. So that's what I wanted to present to everyone, and everyone's got to vote based upon the good versus the bad, and some very ugly.
Hearing and seeing no other senator that wishes to be heard, debate is closed. Secretary will ring the bell. Senator Flanagan.
Senate's going to stand at ease. There'll be an immediate Republican conference.
The Senate will stand at ease. There's an immediate meeting of the Republican conference. The Senate stands at ease.
Would you please lay the bill aside that we finished debate on?
The bill that debate was closed on will be laid aside.
Finance Committee right now?
Senator DeFrancisco.
Just checking to make sure the bill that the last bill that we have to deal with in finance is in the room and the papers are there, because that's what I'm going to ask for, a meeting of the Finance Committee as soon as we know that they're set.
Senator DeFrancisco.
It's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the leaders in this chamber would be agreeable to starting the Finance Committee using a PDF file as opposed to the papers, and have a Finance Committee meeting without the stacks of documents, because we have them electronically and everyone's had a chance to review them.
I believe those accommodations can be made.
It's correct. It's correct. That being the case, I request an immediate meeting of the Finance Committee in room 332.
There is an immediate meeting of the Finance Committee in room 332.
Thank you.
An immediate meeting of the Finance Committee in room 332. All members, please report to room 332. Senate will stand temporarily at ease. Okay. Senate will return to order. Senator DeFrancisco.
Previously, we debated calendar number 519, and we now, is it true that we have a message of necessity at the desk?
There is a message of necessity at the desk. We need to sub first, and then we can accept the message.
Well, then why don't you do it?
Secretary Reed.
Senator Young moves to discharge from the Committee on Finance Assembly Bill number 9000D and substitute the identical Senate Bill 6400D, third reading calendar 519. Calendar number 519, Assembly Budget Bill, Assembly Print 9000D, an act making appropriations for the support of government, state operations budget.
And the substitution is so ordered. There is a
All right.
message of necessity before the desk. All in favor of accepting the message of necessity signify by saying aye. Opposed? The message is accepted. And with unanimous consent, the bill is before the House for a vote. Without objection, Secretary will read.
That it's on a non-controversial calendar so that everybody will be recorded.
Correct. Read the title again.
Calendar number 519, Assembly Budget Bill, Assembly Print 9000D, an act making appropriations for the support of government, state operations budget.
Last section.
Section 3, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 62.
Bill is passed. Senator DeFrancisco.
Do we have a report from the Finance Committee?
There is a Committee of Finance report before the desk. Secretary will read.
Senator Young from the Committee on Finance reports the following bills. Senate Print 6403D, Senate Budget Bill, an act making appropriations. And Senate 7159, Senate Budget Bill, an act to amend the public health law. All bills reported direct to third reading.
We do.
I'll entertain a motion to accept.
Yes, I will move to accept.
All in favor of accepting the Committee on Finance report signify by saying aye. Opposed? The report is accepted and before the House. Senator DeFrancisco.
Would you call the first bill a non-controversial?
Secretary will read.
Calendar number 521, Senate Budget Bill, Senate Print 6403D, an act making appropriations, aid to localities budget.
There is a message of necessity at the desk. All in favor of
I would move to accept the message of necessity.
motion has been made. All in favor of accepting the message of necessity of the governor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The message is accepted and the bill is before the House. Read the last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 62.
Bill is passed.
Now request that you read the other bill that was just reported out of Finance.